Good evening. For those of you I haven't had the opportunity to meet, I'm Ellen Cohn, the new City Council member for District C, and I'd like to recognize two other council members who are here tonight. Councilmember Costello, there he is, and Councilmember Bradford, there he is. Thank you both very much for joining us, and I know that we do have staff members from other offices, and we thank you for coming. Thank you all for being here and for bringing your passion and your concerns front and center. And in fact, I think you should applaud yourself for this turnout. I'd also like to thank Temple Emmanuel for hosting us this evening. I would much have preferred to have my first town hall meeting with you on a more positive subject, but unfortunately, that is not the case. Once it became apparent that Ashby Highrise Settlement was imminent and things were moving forward, I wanted to meet with you as soon as possible, and this was the first available date. From the outset, I've been opposed to Ashby Highrise. In 2007, I co-authored a letter with Senator Ellis to Mayor White, strongly objecting to the high-rise, and I have never altered from that position. Thank you. I was against it then, I'm against it now, and regardless of this settlement, I will continue to work to protect the integrity and safety of this neighborhood. I appreciate your attendance tonight, and following the mayor's remarks and those of David Feldman, City Attorney, we will take questions from the audience. And we've got one microphone there and one microphone here. For your neighbors that can't be here, tonight's meeting will be available on HTV, and as soon as that is up, I'll post it on my website as well. Thank you again very much for your attention, and now please help me welcome our Mayor, Anise Parker.
Thank you, Councilmember Cohen, for getting us started and for hosting this town hall meeting. And I am glad to have you as my district council member and appreciate all the work that you do. Many of us were at post-school together back in 2007. And as I recall that meeting, there were a lot of different things said from the public official side. And I said this was the wrong project in the wrong place, and that I would do everything I could to stop the project. But as I recall, I also said I didn't know that there were any tools that the city had to stop this project. We have delayed this project. We have, I think, improved this project, but you can go ahead and say it, lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. But I have, I believe, exhausted every legal means to stop this project. We're going to walk you through the timeline of what happened when that got us to this point. I'm happy to answer any questions. The city attorney is available to answer any questions. We can talk about what future steps there could be, and I think that there are some positive things that we can do. But I want to be really clear in that my job is to make decisions in the best interests of the city, and part of that is determine legal liability in which the city places itself and how best to resolve that. I am convinced that the best course of action for the city is to resolve this situation in such a way that we have some control over the outcome of this project. And I emphasize the word some control. And you'll see as we go through a very, very brief presentation, I think it's maybe 3 or 4 slides, why that is so. I ran for city council in the first place because I was a civic club president and I wanted to do what I could to protect neighborhoods. I pushed through a rather unpopular historic preservation ordinance because I wanted to do what I could to protect intact neighborhoods. I have fought for more deed restriction protection because I wanted to protect intact neighborhoods. Coming here tonight is a particularly bitter pill for me. You know, I've heard a lot of complaints from folks that, well, this was during spring break. I've delayed my spring break trip to be here. The reason we were here tonight is because we wanted to have a permanent record of this so that we could broadcast it on the municipal channel and make it available to you for anyone who wants it. But we are in our capital projects planning meeting process. So there were 4 CIP meetings last week. There were 4 CIP meetings over 4 nights the week before. And next week there will be 4 more CIP meetings. And as the council member said, this process was not going to improve by future delay, and it would be some time before we could get together again. So I appreciate being able to be here tonight with you, and I am glad that we were able to have the municipal channel to record this information. We want to answer any questions that you have, and we'll stay until the cows come home tonight to try to do that. But if that's not sufficient, and you want to wade through all the mail I'm getting right now at City Hall that's telling me that I need to be in fear of my spiritual life, you may email me. It's mayor@houstontx.gov, and we will do everything we can to follow up on those questions or concerns as well. I'll be back in just a few minutes after Mr. Feldman walks you through the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure it's going to be just a few minutes. Let me start by saying that the last time I spoke to a crowd anywhere near this large in a synagogue was 49 years ago when I was bar mitzvahed. And at the end of my Haftorah, they threw candy at me. And if that's the worst that you do tonight, I think I'm coming out ahead. This is the timeline of events that I'm going to speak to first. I realize it's pretty far away and the lighting may not be too good, but I'm hopeful that each of you have a copy of the handout that includes the timeline on it. Well, that's a rousing start. Well,
They'll raise their hands, we'll make more copies.
okay. For the benefit of those of you who don't have a copy, I'll read it. That'll slow me down a little bit, but let me start by saying that the saga begins in August of 2006 when 1717 Bissonnette was purchased by the developer. December 21st, 2006, the city approved the plan for construction of the sanitary sewer line from Bissonnette to North Boulevard. February 15, 2007, the Planning Commission approves the subdivision plat. June 29, 2007, the city issues a certificate of substantial completion on the sanitary sewer line. July 30, 2007, Buckhead, the developer, submits the application and plans for site work and foundation permit. And then from July 2007 to approximately July 2009, more accurately April 2009, I think, Buckhead submits 10 different plans, and all of them are rejected. The key plan for our purposes tonight, and the plan over which a lawsuit was filed, was a plan submitted on April 4th, 2009, which was the 10th and final plan rejected by the city. On August 4th, 2009, Buckhead submits a new plan with 120 net peak hour trips, which was a 25–30% reduction from the prior plan, the April 4 plan, and they submitted, quote, under protest, close quote. And on August 25th, 2009, the city gave Buckhead the green light for construction. They approved the plan of August 4th, 2009. All this, of course, occurred before Mayor Parker was elected, and obviously occurred before I became city attorney. But a gift was awaiting us from the developer, because on February 11, 2010, a lawsuit was filed against the city by the developer seeking some $40 million in damages. The suit was originally filed in state court. We removed it to federal court because of the federal constitutional claims that were asserted. The claims all emanated from the city's rejection of the April 4th, 2009 plan, which had 187, I believe, gross peak hour trips, 184, I'm sorry, and 157 net peak hour trips, which was substantially more than what the city had approved. I became city attorney a couple months after that lawsuit was filed, and one of the first visits I got was from Jim Reeder and Chris Amandis. I'm sure Jim's in the audience here somewhere, but I don't see him. Hi, Jim. In any event, they didn't tell me why they were coming to see me, except that they both had been former partners of mine when I was a partner at Vincent & Elkins many years before. But they came to talk to me about the Ashby Highrise and how dedicated they were to the cause of trying to stop the high-rise from being built and offering any assistance they could in connection with the litigation that had been filed against the city, which of course I appreciated. As a result of that visit, I did rearrange the city's legal team to make sure that what the lawyers were using within the city were the best and brightest that we could have to offer. And as this timeline indicates, in due course, I made the decision to bring Fulbright and Jaworski and the firm of Fulbright and Jaworski to lead the defense team. Now, anybody who has followed my travails as city attorney knows that with my own trial experience, one of the things I've tried to do is limit the use of outside counsel by the city and use more in-house counsel. This was a case, however, that I felt strongly needed to have as much resource as we could behind it in terms of legal talent. Not to say anything against Vincent & Elkins, but Fulbright and Jaworski didn't have anybody who was on the Stop Ashby High-Rise committee at the time, and I felt that that was a better choice. In any event, from June of 2010 to September of 2011, we engaged in extensive discovery in the case. Some 5,000 documents were produced by the city. Some documents that I have to candidly say were not particularly helpful for the city in our case, but they had to be produced nevertheless. On September 27, 2010, Judge Rosenthal set the case for a March 30, 2012 docket call. Following that, shortly following that, the city filed a series of motions to dismiss, to try and dispose of the case summarily based on the pleadings. What we confronted were 3 different types of claims asserted by the developer.